So let's inspect this RGB LED, and we can see that we've got slightly longer legs, and we can therefore tell which is the red, green and blue and which is the common cathode where we're going to connect to the ground pin. So we've got resistors, 1 kilo ohm resistors that are going through to each of those red, green and blue legs, and we've connected to the two 5-volt pins and also the V-in pin, which is commonly connected. So we're basically just having 5 volts going through red here, resistor and red and green and blue, and then we're sort of cycling through just to check that that is indeed what color we get. And we can also do some mixing. So here the green wire being also connected to 5 volts, mixing together the red and green LED. Also just sort of touch it on the side of the leg of the resistor there so we can see it going on and off, and the slight difference in the image. And let's mix all of the colors. So we've got red and green mixed together, and then we've got red, green and blue all mixed together to give what is theoretically white. Now in TinkerCAD, I'm going to check which leg is the red, green and blue, because actually it's slightly different from the one that I have physically in the kit. So we find that the far left is red, then the next one is blue, and then the far right hand one is green. So it's like blue and green have been changed around. So now we've got some code here to do the switching on and off of those red, green and blue LEDs. We assign them to their particular pin. I'm using PWM pins here, even though we're just controlling it as full 255 on or off. If we wanted, we could actually change those numbers to be some range between 0 and 255 to change the intensity of that LED. And then we can see when we run the simulation that it cycles through red, green and blue. So now we'll stop the simulation and we'll actually put it onto a real board. So we'll copy this across to the Arduino IDE, and we'll save this file so that we can program the board. We'll upload that. See, that's done successfully, and now we can see on the board how we've got it plugged in, but oh no, it's going red, blue, green. So that's a bit of an issue, isn't it? Even though we've got it, we worked out where the red, green and blue were, but remember that the legs in TinkerCAD were slightly different. So let's just swap it around with our variables at the top, and when we reprogram it, we can see that it goes red, green and blue correctly, rather than red, blue and green. This time we're going to actually use a function to make the amount of code less and give us some more flexibility later. So we've got this update LEDs function where we can pass in an integer value, which is the value we're going to send to the analog write for that particular pin in the order of red, green and blue for the 3 variables. So we have 255.00, then for the second one 0.255.0, and then 0.0.255, and we can see it does the same thing. It cycles red, green and blue. So now we're going to put this in a for loop so that we can change it from 0 through to 255 rather than just having it at 255. And seeing as though we're stepping up through 255, we're going to set it to be a delay of 20 milliseconds. So this will be about 5 seconds. You can see how it's now going from a lighter shade of red through to darker, and then the same for blue and green. Now we'll copy this code across, and we'll upload this onto the real board, making sure that we change the assignments of the green and blue pins, and then we can see how that we get this fading up from low intensity to high intensity for red, green and blue. Okay, so let's try and do something a bit more interesting by mixing some colors together. So we'll add a couple more for loops here, and then instead of just having the red or the green or the blue go up, we can mix together the red and green and blue, and then also the red and blue, but from opposite directions. And you can see that we get sort of a yellowy color, and then a turquoise color, and then a purple color. So now we're going to put this on the real board, again making sure that we change the pin assignments for the green and blue, and then we upload that. And the start of it's the same as the previous time, so we get the red, green and blue fading from low intensity to high, and then we actually start to see the red and green mixing together and the blue and green mixing together, and then finally the red and blue but from different extremes being mixed together.